Hi, this is Deb from Deb's Days. It's Tutorial Tuesday, and today we're going to make a placemat for spring or for summer. Before I get started, I publish new content every week, so be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell to get notified about those latest videos. Alright, let's get started on the placemat. Along with your regular sewing supplies, for this project you will need a fabric for the main part of the flower. I'm using orange for mine. A different fabric for the flower's center. That's my yellow fabric. A white background fabric. Some green strips for the border. Mine are light green. A backing fabric. Dark green for me. A fabric for the corners. I'm using dark green there too. Batting. An iron-on no-sew adhesive like Heat & Bond Ultra Hold, some optional basting spray, and the flower template downloaded from debsdays.com. The specific measurements for this project is there too. I've added a direct link in the description right below this video. The measurements listed on Deb's Days are for one placemat. If you're making multiple, just multiply the measurements. Deb's Days is also where you can find more free sewing and crafting projects and patterns and supply lists and links to more sewing and crafting tutorials. First, iron the Heat & Bond onto the wrong side of the fabric you're using for the flower and flower center. Be sure to follow the directions on the Heat & Bond packaging. Then let those cool. Trace the templates onto the paper side of the Heat & Bond fabric pieces. Cut those out and peel off the paper from both pieces. Center the flower with the Heat & Bond side facing down on top of the right side of the white fabric. You may have to turn your flower around a bit until you get the petals facing the way you'd like. Iron the two pieces of fabric together, again following the directions on your packaging. Center the center of the flower into the center of the flower. Press. Now set that piece aside. Cut your two 4.5-inch squares in half diagonally. On your base piece, measure up 4 inches from the corner and mark that spot. Measure across 4 inches across the bottom. Mark that spot. Now we're going to draw a line from mark to mark. This will give us the placement spot for the pieces we just cut. Place the triangle against the line with the right sides of the fabric facing together, with the triangle facing away from the corner, as seen here. Stitch the fabric in place using a very narrow seam allowance. Clip away the extra white fabric on the corner. Press the green towards the corner. Now go ahead and do the same with all 4 corners and trim the edges as needed. We're going to work on our border piece now. Because we're using scrap pieces of 2.5-inch wide fabric, we need to sew the pieces together end to end. I just kept sewing and made a big long strip of them. Now from that big long strip, we need to cut 2 strips measuring 9 inches in length. This is going to be for the side of the placemat. Place those strips on the side of the base piece. Sew them together using a 1/4-inch seam allowance. Press those. We now need to cut 2 strips that are 18 inches long for the top and the bottom of the placemat, and attach them using another 1/4-inch seam allowance. And then go ahead and press that open too. If you want to do some additional stitching around the flower, go ahead and use a zigzag or a blanket stitch to secure it in place. Since I used the Heat & Bond Ultra Hold for the flowers, no additional sewing is needed around them. Place your backing right side down, wrong side facing up, and then center the batting on top. Add the top piece of the placemat. Pin or baste the pieces together. I like to use basting spray to hold mine together. When your 3 layers are secured, quilt as you wish. I did the bare minimum, which means I just stitched where I had the seams. I stitched in the ditch. We're going to use the excess fabric from our backing to make our binding. Fold the backing over so the raw edges meet the raw edge of the border. Press. Fold one more time over so the fold is now on top of the front part of the placemat. Press. We now have our binding piece. Pin or clip the binding onto the front. Stitch the binding down all the way around the placemat. And you have one spring placemat ready for use. See you next week with another project.